Imagine Europe in the early 1900s, a continent brimming with ambition, pride, and a sense of destiny. The air is thick with the promise of progress, yet beneath the surface there is an undercurrent of unease. It's a web of alliances, rivalries, and simmering tensions. Nations are bound by treaties, but also divided by old grudges and new ambitions. The political landscape is a complex puzzle, with each piece holding the potential to ignite a conflict. Germany, a rising power, feels squeezed by its neighbors. The nation is eager to assert its dominance, driven by a sense of national pride and a desire for greater influence on the world stage. Kaiser Wilhelm II embodies this ambition, leading a nation ready to challenge the status quo. France still seethes from a previous defeat against Germany. The memory of the Franco-Prussian War lingers, fueling a desire for revenge and a determination to reclaim lost honor. French national pride is a powerful force, pushing the country to prepare for the possibility of another confrontation. Great Britain, the global superpower, watches nervously. The British Empire spans the globe, but its leaders are acutely aware of the growing threats in Europe. King George V and his advisors understand that maintaining their dominance will require vigilance and readiness for any eventuality. The Ottoman Empire, once mighty, is crumbling. Internal strife and external pressures have weakened the empire, leaving it vulnerable and uncertain about its future. The decline of this once great power adds another layer of instability to the region. Nationalism is on the rise, fueling dreams of independence and dominance. Across Europe, various ethnic groups and regions are clamoring for self-determination, challenging the old empires and established borders. These movements add to the already volatile mix of political and social tensions. This was the tinderbox of Europe, a continent where every nation was armed and ready, where every alliance and rivalry could spark a larger conflict. The balance of power was delicate, and the stakes were incredibly high. The great powers of Europe were like wary gladiators circling each other in the arena. Each nation was prepared for war with massive armies and advanced weaponry. Military leaders strategized and planned, confident in their ability to achieve swift victories. They had treaties pledging support, massive armies, and a dangerous confidence in their own strength. These agreements, meant to provide security, instead created a fragile network of obligations that could easily drag multiple nations into conflict. Few foresaw the carnage to come. The general public, living their daily lives in peaceful cities, believed that any war would be short and decisive. There was a sense of optimism, a belief that modern civilization had moved beyond the horrors of prolonged conflict. Most believed any war would be short and decisive. They were tragically wrong. The reality of World War I would shatter these illusions, bringing unprecedented devastation and changing the course of history forever. June 28, 1914. The streets of Sarajevo are bustling with life, unaware of the impending tragedy that will soon unfold. Archduke Franz Ferdinand, heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, visits Sarajevo with his wife Sophie. They are there to inspect the Imperial Armed Forces in Bosnia and Herzegovina, annexed by Austria-Hungary in 1908. A wrong turn, a stalled car, and a young Serbian nationalist named Gavrilo Princip seizes the moment. He fires his pistol, aiming to strike a blow for Serbian independence. The Archduke and his wife are dead. The shots fired by Princip echo around the world, setting off a chain reaction that will lead to unprecedented global conflict. This single act of violence shatters the fragile peace that had been maintained in Europe. The assassination is the spark that ignites the powder keg of tensions that had been building for years. Austria-Hungary, outraged and seeking retribution, blames Serbia for the assassination. They issue an ultimatum with demands so severe that compliance is nearly impossible. Serbia, backed by its powerful ally Russia, partially refuses the ultimatum, knowing that full compliance would mean the end of its sovereignty. The complex web of alliances that binds the European powers kicks in with terrifying speed. Nations are drawn into the conflict, one after another, like dominoes falling. Austria-Hungary declares war on Serbia, setting the stage for a larger conflict. The declaration is met with immediate mobilization of troops. Russia, determined to protect its Slavic ally Serbia, begins to mobilize its vast military forces. The Tsar's decision to mobilize is a critical step towards a broader war. Germany, allied with Austria-Hungary, declares war on Russia. The German war machine, efficient and formidable, quickly turns its attention to Russia's ally, France. Within a week, Europe is at war. the assassination in Sarajevo has set off a chain of events that will engulf the continent in one of the deadliest conflicts in human history, World War I. The early months of the war shatter the illusion of a quick victory. German advances stall in France. The Western Front becomes a nightmarish landscape of trenches stretching from the Swiss Alps to the North Sea. Millions of soldiers face each other across a desolate no-man's land riddled with barbed wire and landmines. Attacks are met with devastating machine gun fire and artillery barrages. Gains are measured in yards, often at a horrific cost in human life. The battles of Verdun, the Somme, Passchendaele, these names become synonymous with unimaginable slaughter and futility. The stalemate drags on for years. World War I sees the terrifying debut of new technologies. Machine guns mow down attacking troops. Artillery shells rain down from the sky, obliterating everything in their path. Poison gas, a new horror, chokes and blinds soldiers. Tanks, slow and unreliable at first, offer a glimpse of future warfare. Airplanes, initially used for reconnaissance, soon engage in dogfights above the trenches. Submarines, lurking beneath the waves, target merchant ships and warships alike. This is a war unlike any before it, a clash of industrial might and technological innovation. Section 5, America enters the fray. For the first 3 years of the war, the United States remains neutral. However, German submarine attacks on American ships, including the sinking of the Lusitania in 1915, inflame public opinion. In April 1917, the United States declares war on Germany, citing unrestricted submarine warfare and an intercepted telegram from Germany to Mexico. The entry of the United States with its vast industrial resources and fresh troops tips the balance in favor of the Allies. American soldiers, dubbed doughboys, join the fight on the Western Front, bolstering the exhausted Allied armies. Section 6. The collapse of empires. By 1918, after more than 4 years of brutal warfare, the tide begins to turn decisively against Germany and its allies. The German offensive of spring 1918 fails to achieve its objectives, and the Allies launch a series of counter-offensives, pushing back the Germans on multiple fronts. The Austro-Hungarian Empire, riddled with internal divisions, collapses. The Ottoman Empire, defeated on multiple fronts, sues for peace. Germany, facing exhaustion and dwindling resources, sees its armies crumble. Revolution breaks out in Germany, and the Kaiser abdicates. Section 7, Versailles, a flawed peace. On November 11th, 1918, at 11 a.m., an armistice goes into effect. The guns fall silent. The war is over. In the aftermath, the victorious Allies gather in Paris to negotiate the terms of peace. The Treaty of Versailles, signed in 1919, officially ends the war. The treaty, however, is deeply flawed. Germany is blamed for the war and saddled with crippling reparations payments. New nations are created, but ethnic tensions are ignored, sowing the seeds of future conflict. The United States, disillusioned, retreats into isolationism. Section 8, a world transformed. World War I leaves an indelible mark on the world. Millions are dead, empires have crumbled, and the political map of Europe is redrawn. The war accelerates the rise of new technologies and ideologies, including communism and fascism. The global economy is in shambles. The war also shatters the old order, leaving a legacy of disillusionment and uncertainty. The war to end all wars, as it was tragically called, fails to achieve its objective. Instead, it sets the stage for future conflicts and sows the seeds of World War II. Section 9. Echoes of 1914. The year 1914 marked the beginning of a conflict that would change the world forever. World War I, often referred to as the Great War, was a cataclysmic event that reshaped nations, societies, and the course of history. The echoes of World War I still resonate today. The war's devastation left deep scars on the landscape and in the hearts of those who lived through it. Memorials and monuments stand as silent witnesses to the sacrifices made by millions. The war's legacy can be seen in the continued existence of international organizations like the United Nations, which was preceded by the League of Nations. These organizations were born out of a desire to prevent such widespread destruction from happening again. Formed in the aftermath of World War II to prevent future conflicts, the United Nations has played a crucial role in maintaining global peace and security. Its creation was a direct response to the horrors witnessed during both world wars. It also serves as a stark reminder of the human cost of war. The battlefields of World War I, now serene and covered in flowers, were once sites of unimaginable suffering and loss. Each memorial tells a story of bravery, sacrifice, and the enduring human spirit. The importance of diplomacy and understanding in international relations cannot be overstated. The treaties and peace talks that followed the war were attempts to rebuild a shattered world and to lay the groundwork for a more stable and peaceful future. As we remember the millions who perished, we honor their memory by striving to create a world where such a tragedy never occurs again. The cemeteries and graves of soldiers serve as poignant reminders of the cost of conflict. The countless lives forever altered by the Great War include not only the soldiers who fought, but also the civilians who endured its hardships. Families were torn apart and entire communities were displaced, leaving a legacy of loss and resilience. Let us strive to learn from the mistakes of the past. Education and remembrance are key to ensuring that the lessons of World War I are not forgotten. By visiting war memorials and studying history, we can better understand the consequences of conflict and work towards a more peaceful future. The efforts of peace activists and international conferences highlight the ongoing commitment to resolving disputes through dialogue and cooperation rather than violence. The lessons of 1914 are as relevant as ever. In our complex and interconnected world, the need for unity, understanding, and peaceful coexistence remains paramount. The events of 1914 serve as a powerful reminder of what is at stake. In our complex and interconnected world, the echoes of the past continue to shape our present and future. By fostering international cooperation and understanding, we can build a world that honors the sacrifices of those who came before us and ensures a brighter future for generations to come.